Let's go live to Eylon Levy, who's a former spokesperson for the Israeli government. Welcome back to Newsday. First of all, how have things been for you these 4 days and last night when there's been even more attacks on Israel?
Good morning, Luke. I'm speaking to you from just a few hundred meters away, actually, from the impact site yesterday in Tel Aviv. At 4 in the morning, we were woken up a second time, ran down into the shelters, and even 2 stories underground in the bomb shelter with the door closed. It was a deafening explosion as we realized that a missile had hit nearby. Israelis are used to running to bomb shelters because of missile attacks by Iran's other proxy armies. But now we are talking about very heavy ballistic missiles being fired in huge barrages to overwhelm Israel's missile defenses and being targeted directly at civilian infrastructure. And this is a reality that Israelis are unfamiliar with. There isn't panic. There's a steely keep calm and carry on attitude, but people are definitely anxious.
We're in a cycle of missile attacks between Israel and Iran. Is it clear to you how that might be broken?
Cycle of missile attacks is a rather euphemistic way to say that the Iranian regime is targeting ballistic missiles at Israeli homes and Israel is targeting Iran's nuclear sites. Israel understands that it is taking considerable risk to itself by going after the Iranian regime's nuclear program, but it's doing the world a service here. Israel sees a narrow window of opportunity because Iran is not only closer than it has ever been to a nuclear bomb, it is also weaker than it has ever been. And Israel's achievements have been extraordinary. Israel controls the skies over Tehran now. It's established complete aerial superiority over Western Iran. And it is planning to use that freedom of maneuver to go after Iran's nuclear sites, to go after its ballistic missile sites, which are no less an existential threat, and to go after the regime that, let's remind viewers, continually calls for the destruction of the state of Israel.
So this ends with regime change in Iran and nothing short of it, you think?
The conflict between Israel and Iran won't change until the regime in Iran changes, and that's because the conflict between Israel and Iran is that Israel wants to exist and the Iranian regime doesn't want it to exist. The moment Iran is governed by people who do not lead crowds in chants of death to Israel, there is no reason for there to be a conflict between Israel and Iran. Now, regime change is not a goal of Israel's war. Israel is trying to eliminate 2 existential threats: an Iranian nuclear bomb and Iran's ballistic missile capabilities. We've seen now what Iran can do with an arsenal of only 2,000 missiles, and Israel saw that it was racing towards 20,000 in just 6 years. But regime change, if that happens, would of course be a welcome development for the Middle East. And we saw just yesterday the Crown Prince of Iran speaking to the BBC, saying that he hopes that this is the moment the Iranian people will rise up and constitute a democracy and throw off the shackles of the oppressive regime that has impoverished them in pursuit of its goal of the obliteration of the state of Israel.
If one of the aims is to eliminate the possibility of Iran actually being able to create nuclear weapons, what do you make of the view of some Western governments, which is try the negotiated settlement again? That seemed to work relatively well under the one that was struck under the Obama administration in the United States. Why don't we try that again rather than firing missiles at one another?
Because the deal that the Obama administration negotiated kicked the can down the road. And when you kick the can down the road, it leaves a mess, and Israel is cleaning up that mess now. The JCPOA put temporary restrictions on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief, giving Iran the money that it used to build up a fearsome ballistic missile arsenal. And Iran is now a hair's breadth away from a nuclear bomb. It has over 400 kilos of highly enriched uranium, according to the IAEA, enough to assemble 10 nuclear bombs if they take it from 60 to 90% purity. And the IAEA said even before this attack that Iran could do that very quickly at multiple locations at a time of its choosing. And Israel felt it had no choice to act now because it discovered that Iran was taking steps towards actively weaponizing that and beginning the actual militarization of a nuclear bomb. Even President Trump said they gave the Iranians a chance to negotiate a deal. They didn't strike a deal. They were still insisting on keeping enrichment capabilities while actively militarizing the bomb. And now, if they want to negotiate in good faith to dismantle the enrichment capabilities, they can do that. If not, Israel's going to do the world a service by dismantling it from the sky.
Eylon Levy, former spokesperson for the Israeli government, I beg your pardon.